Page 4, Mary's Boy Child. It has other titles too, but this is close. Cut time or 2/2 time, so there's 2 counts in a measure and a quarter note gets half a count. No sharps or flats, we're in the key of C major. Hopefully you can do the C major scale, at least 1 octave up and down. Now when I start learning a piece in cut time, I always put it in 4/4 time first, because it's easier to count it in 4/4 time. This way a quarter note gets a count, not a half a count. So I'll do that, and then when later on, when I have it under my fingers pretty much, then I can put it back in cut time. So I'm going to talk about this as though it's in 4/4 time. And the right hand is taking 1 hand at a time. Make sure this fingering, we're moving around a little bit. You're here to start, and we're coming in on beat 4 in 4/4 time. We're coming in on the and of 2 in 2/2 time. So 4, 4. Now what they have this thing in stretch. All you're doing is moving spreading your hands out a little bit. So 4th finger down, and I'm not staying in this position. I'm just kind of moving my hand down as I get the notes. I'm spreading the fingers I need to spread to get the notes, but I'm not staying there, because if you look at here on the notes, starting with the C's, the 2 C's, and then next note is an A, an F, and a D. So that's the chord. That's D minor 7 chord. So it makes sense that, yeah, it's a good fingering, but I don't have to hold my hand in this position. I relax it, and then I come down here, and then immediately I relax the little finger. I'm not holding it there, and then here. So I'm kind of moving my hand down as I'm doing this. That's fine. It depends on the music. If I have to go back up, then I pretty much have to stay there. But here we're not doing that, so you can just come down. And then 4th finger, 4 and 4. During the rest, come up. 2nd line, last measure, here, 1. And then 2nd finger, here, and cross over, here, and connect it. They get the little message there. Cross 2nd finger over thumb, well, like that, that's what they mean. And then going on 5, and then scrunch up 1. This way you're in position for the rest of the notes there on that line. Like so. Then during the rest, you come up. You need 4th finger on the E for the last line on page 4. Top of page 5, during the rest, come down here. And you've had this before. Cross over. Thumb. And you do that some more. At the bottom of the page, 5, last line. You're here. During the rest, you come down. We have 2 voices. You have a whole note, you're going to hold that down, and then you have half note, and while you play the quarter notes, you're still holding the F down. And then here, and connect this. You can't connect this, thumb please, but connect that, so it's here, lift up, hold that down, and then here. So the last 2 measures, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, like so. That takes a little practice to get that kind of control, because you want to come up. You want to come up with both. I'm asking you not to do that. I'm asking, hold that down. Here. Left hand, well, starting with 4th finger here. Not too hard, I hope. 2nd line, 2nd measure, you reach the thumb up. But stay here, don't move the hand up, stay here, because you need 2nd finger on that G again. And then at the end of the 3rd line, when you come up, now you can come up, now you have 5th finger on the G. This way you're in position for what's going on. Here. Thumb, 2nd finger. There's other fingerings we could use, but this is fine, we'll just use that. Put the hands together. Now when you first put the hands together, there's going to be hesitating. You got to think about this, because you're just trying to get the hands to work together. That's fine. All you need is to do the best you can. And I got these notes. here. And then thumb's got to come up in the left hand. And then as I play the G, I lift up the right hand. Because I got to come up here and then here. And then over. Then thumb here in the right hand. And as I play the G, and this is the last measure, third line, then I lift up. And then they kind of come up. See, they're in harmony with each other. They're not the same notes. They do that sometimes. You want me to stop talking? Okay. Page 5, second line, second measure. You have one beat rest in both hands. 1, 2, 3, rest. So, because you got to move the left hand up here, and hopefully you've already moved the right hand up. I mean, once your right hand, you can reach up. Your right hand's ready to go. So when your left hand's ready, you're focusing on getting the left hand where it needs to go, because your right hand's already there. Did that make any sense at all? I don't know. It made sense to me. Remember, thumb in the left hand there. So forth. Then go back over and get rid of all the hesitations, because the beat needs to be a steady beat. It can be nice and slow, doesn't matter, but it needs to be a steady beat. Just take your time, but it's got to be a steady beat. You can speed it up later. 1, 2. All the way through, a nice steady beat. Then we can add the phrasing. That's the only real articulation there is here. And you see the slur lines over the top staff, and the bottom staff gets them occasionally. Just lift up. It's the end of the first line on page 4. You're here. Lift up. It's like taking a breath. A lot of times they give you rest where you have to lift up, and that's handy, but if there's no rest, lift up. Look on page 5 at the end of the first line, the last measure. You're here. Lift up. Now don't mess up the beat. You're just cutting that note a little bit short, so it's like taking a quick breath. In the left hand, you connect everything you can except the rest, of course. So it's lift up both hands. So, I don't know if that's important, but go ahead. Now, the end of the third line on page 4, going into the next line, connect the left hand. Here, because it leads into it. And in music, when you lead into something, you connect it. Please don't lead into it, connect it there. That slur line, in my opinion, in the left hand should have been carried over one more note. See, here they want. You can lift both hands there. This is the last line on page 4 in the second measure. You can lift both hands there. So forth. So put in the phrasing, then go back and add the dynamics. That applies to the melody. Keep this left hand way in the background, way out of the way. Sort of soft, whatever you think sort of soft is. Bottom line there on page 4, you go up to moderately loud. There's not a lot of difference between moderately soft and moderately loud. Just a little bit. That's for the right hand. Left hand is still soft. And then at the top of page 5, you're going down to soft. This is softer than you were at the beginning, so left hand's very soft. Then second line on page 5, last measure, you go back up to moderately loud again. And the right hand, left hand's still soft. And you're staying in that area until the very last. The last 2 measures, you go back down and everything else needs to be background. Now for speed or tempo, they say tenderly. Wasn't that nice? Actually, a lot of times in music where the tempo is supposed to be, they tell you the mood of the piece. And from that, you're supposed to figure out what the speed is. They give you a metronome marking for the half note, which is the beat. Remember, this is in cut time. So for the speed, we put it back in cut time. We want to feel this in 2, but it's a very slow 2. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, I disagree with the way the music is printed slightly, in my opinion. There is a symbol for the end of a piece of music, a musical symbol, and that is a thin and thick bar line. For instance, if you look at on page 9 at the end of the second line, you see a thin and thick bar line. That's the symbol for the end of a piece. And in my opinion, that symbol should have been at the bottom of page 5 at the end, because that's the end of the piece. Right there. So if you want, take a pencil and make that second bar line, make it a thick one. It should be a thin and thick one. Doesn't affect how you play it. I just like to see that symbol because I know that tells me that's the end of a piece. It's not always at the end. It could be somewhere else, but it'll be wherever the piece ends eventually. I'd like to play this with you very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. I can do the dynamics. And I'm going to take it in 4/4 time where a quarter note gets a count. We're not trying to perform it here. We're just checking notes and rhythms. So I'll give us 3 counts, 3 quarter note counts, because we come in on beat 4 if it's in 4/4 time. 1, ready, go. Rest.